Okay, very good afternoon, all participants. I am
Good
Dr.
afternoon.
Rao Sahib Gegde. Here with I am Dr. Rao Sahib Gegde. Here with introducing today's speaker, Dr. Madhav Welling sir. Presently, sir is advisor to President SVKM Institute and Chancellor NMIMS deemed to be university. As per as sir's experience is concerned, sir has reached 46 years experience in the field of education, and sir has published several research papers in national, international journals. Along with sir has co-authored several books on mathematics, statistics, and computers. As per educational qualifications, is concerned, sir has done his MSc and MPhil in statistics, PhD in economics from University of Mumbai. Sir is a renowned statistician in Mumbai University, Mumbai. Then, as per the work highlight is concerned, sir was head Department of Statistics in Bhavan College, Andheri. Sir was principal of Sri Rajasthani Seva Sangha College of Arts and Commerce, Andheri, KJ Somaya College of Science and Commerce, Vidya Vihar, Mithibai College of Art, Science and Commerce, and Narsi Munji College of Commerce and Economics, Ville Parle, Mumbai. Sir was Pro Vice Chancellor of NMIMS, was Director, Board of College and University Development, University of Mumbai, and also in charge Registrar for University of Mumbai. Sir presented teachers and principals in the Senate of University of Mumbai. Sir is a member of steering committee appointed by Government of Maharashtra to suggest ways and means to implement the new topic, that is new education policy 2020 in the higher education institutes in Maharashtra. Sir is the recipient of several other awards for his contribution in research and education. Sir was member of Management Council, Senate, and Academic Council of University of Mumbai. Sir was co-opted as evaluation expert on the Board of Examination of University of Mumbai. Sir, as per awards, recognition and achievements concerned, sir received prestigious Best Teacher Award in 2002 and 2003 from Government of Maharashtra. I would like to notify all the participants that Dr. Welling has developed an index which is used by the researchers in the field of home science and social sciences, which is very well known as Welling's Index. And it is also proudly to mention here that this index is also used by the industry and professional organization like Organization of Pharmaceutical Producers of India. This is very brief introduction of sir, and definitely sir today is going to highlight and enlighten us on the topic that is education reforms marching to Vikasit Bharat. Definitely the proficiency and expertise of the sir will definitely learning enriching activity for all of us. Thank you sir. I welcome and kindly proceed with your thought and talk sir. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Edgar sir. Good afternoon, all the participants. Here I present before you. In fact, I am thankful to the organizers for giving me this opportunity to share my thoughts with you this afternoon. The topic is which always encourages teachers basically is the education reform marching towards Vikasit Bharat.
Sir,
Sorry.
just disturbing for a second.
Yeah.
Sir, just make your presentation on presentation mode. Slideshow.
Yes, yeah, I agree. Okay. Now can you see properly?
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
No, that's okay. Now, we always wonder as to what kind of education reforms are taking place. People talk about national education policy, this, that. I will not much dwell upon this new education policy. Cursorily, I might touch upon new education policy. I will begin with the report which was published in 2012 by a well-known company called McKinsey. They are into consulting, etc. And this report came into existence in 2012. Now, though it is old report as of now, but what has happened is it is still relevant to many countries. Now, what does this report talk about? What they did was McKinsey surveyed the youth, education providers, and employees in general, all stakeholders from 9 countries that are diverse in geography and social economic context. Now, which are those 9 countries? So, 9 countries were Brazil, Germany, India, Mexico, Morocco, Turkey, Saudi Arabia, the UK, and the US. Now, these were surveyed by McKinsey. And what is the gist of the report? It says in the Organization of Economic Cooperation and Development, that which is usually called OECD countries, more than 1 in 8 of all 15 to 24 years olds are not in employment, education, or training. In the sense that 15 to 24 is the range where generally people enter into or get into higher education, maybe undergraduate or postgraduate. Now, these people are neither in employment nor in education. That means they are not studying, not in training also in any of the industries. That is the thing to be highlighted. Another one is around the world, international labor organization ILO estimates that 75 million young people are unemployed. As you know, 1 million is almost 10 lakhs. And paradoxically, that means, as against this, across 9 countries that were focus of the report, only 43% of the employers surveyed agreed that they could find enough skilled entry level workers. That means, on one side, ILO says that there are quite a few unemployed people, whereas the employers say that only 43% of the employers surveyed, they agreed that they could find enough skilled entry level workers, which means remaining 57% said that they are not getting enough skilled workers. This is the paradox which was in existence at that instant of time. The things have not much improved as I see. And ultimately, McKinsey Global Institute estimated that by 2020, because the report was of 2012, there will be a global shortfall of 85 million high and middle level skilled workers. That means the employers want people, there are quite a few vacancies. However, the the people or the youth, they are not employable. That is the gist of the report. And there are 6 highlights of this report findings. One is employers, education providers, and youth live in parallel universe. What does it mean? It means that, as we have seen earlier, the report says that employers are not getting skilled people to be employed. That means they don't they see that the people whom they interview or they want them to be employed are not skilled enough to be employed in their organization. Education providers, they feel that what they are doing is the best, and they are giving all kinds of training to the students, and the students should go and get employed. And youth, they come with great aspirations to the education providers, and they feel that once they become graduate or they get first class or they pass the examination, then in that case they are employable. Therefore, employers, education providers, and youth, they live in parallel universe, whereas it becomes very difficult later on to provide them employment. The education to employment journey is fraught with obstacles. That means the transition from education to employment is full of obstacles. Why, we are going to see later on. Just and the third is the education to employment system fails for most of the employees and young people, which means there are quite a few obstacles, yes, but are they in a position to overcome the this kind of journey? Are they in a position to overcome this education to employment journey? uh, Unfortunately, no. That system fails for most employees and young people. Next, fourth highlight is innovative and effective programs around the world have important elements in common. There are many innovations which are taking place in programs. They want to make it effective, so that world over the things are happening, but we have to see how far we are in a position to achieve this education to employment system. Fifth is creating a successful education to employment system requires new incentives and structures, which means there has to be a total education reform in order to see to it that the journey of education to employment is either with no obstacles or with very, very few obstacles. And moreover, education to employment solutions need to scale up in the sense that whatever is the percentage at this juncture, that education to employment journey, for as much percentage as possible, we should scale it up. That means we should go ahead with higher percentage of education to employment. Now, they when they interviewed, they found out what are the reactions of each of these. One was reactions of youth. Now, when they interviewed the youth, they said fewer than half of those surveyed are confident that if they had to do the course which they did again, they would study the same subject. This means the students did not have information they needed to make the right choice. Now, let us understand what is meant by fewer than half of those surveyed are confident that if they had to do the course which they did again, they would study the same subject. What it means is less than 50% of the youth, when they were asked that whichever graduate program you are graduated in, if you were to once again be put in the course of graduation, will you do it again? And less than 50% surveyed are confident that they will study the same subject. That means more than 50% said that whichever graduation program I had taken, I will not do that again if I am put back into the system of undergraduate program. Which means that when they took up that particular program, at that instant of time, now they feel that was not the right choice, maybe because they didn't have proper information about that program. That is what exactly is happening now also, that there is a herd mentality, or the students after maybe 10th or 12th, they don't know what exactly is to be done. So in that case, what happens is they either go by what their parents say, or parents also must have heard from somewhere that there is something called scope for this program, and they will advise them, or maybe their relatives say that this program is good and they enter into, or maybe their friends are taking that particular program and therefore they are going into that. So this is what is happening, in the sense that the students who have graduated, if they were asked to do the same any course again, they will not choose the same subject or same program. Now, second one is, almost every society, occupations that require higher level of studies tend to carry more status. That means People feel that I should not go for diploma, I should not go for certificate, I should do graduation. After graduation, if I do post graduation, then my status in the society increases. This is the second aspect. Third, 58% youth said that practical hands-on learning is an effective approach in training. They agree, 58, more than 58%. But only 24% of academic program graduates and 37 of vocational graduates said that they spend most of their time in this manner, in the sense that though 58% youth said that hands-on is important, but what happens is only 24% of academic program graduates and vocational graduates, 37%, said that that is really happening in the our education system. Now, the fourth aspect about youth is young people do not start or finish further education for two main reasons. That means even they enroll, either they don't go for enrollment for higher education, or they drop out. What are the reasons? One, they cannot afford the fees, they are too poor to study, or they do not see point, because as soon as they enter, they see the situation and they feel dejected that what I'm studying is not useful at all. That is what they feel, and such people are too cool to study. 26% of youth that struggling to go ahead but are not well informed about career or educational choices. That means they have got great aspirations, though they have got, every youth has aspiration to struggle and come ahead, but only 26% of the youth that they were struggling to go ahead but are not well informed about the career or educational choices. I talked about it earlier, that they didn't know about the career or educational choices, and therefore they have chosen program which they are in. Cost still remains the number one barrier, that is the fees which are to be paid and other sundry expenses. Among the youth surveyed, 31% cite cost of because of dropout, and 20% cite the need to work as reason for not continuing their education. In the sense, these 20% had to work somewhere or the other to earn, and therefore they were not in a position to continue their education. As against that, what is the reaction of education providers and employers? Employers note a mismatch between what they need and what they are seeing, that I explained earlier. That is, employment providers feel that they are doing excellent job, whereas employers feel that what the youth has, they don't have enough hands on, or they don't have uh, skills to be employed by the employer. They rank the competence of new hires in each of various skills lower than the importance they give. That means the youth doesn't have those skills as expected by the employers. There is a wide gap between perspective of employers and education providers on competence of new hires. I have said that they are in parallel universe, and therefore employers feel that education is no good for them. That means skills acquired are not enough, whereas education providers feel that they are doing an excellent job. Nearly 4 in 10 employers who had vacancies reported that a driving reason behind these vacancies remaining unfilled is the lack of right skills in new graduates, which I talked about. And employers value soft skills. Now, here and otherwise also, I have been conducting interviews for non-teaching staff as well as teaching staff, and even many times in case of faculty also, but invariably in case of non-teaching staff, once I ask them to introduce, they will start with myself so and so, which is totally a wrong introduction. Number one. Second thing is, once we ask any question, they will say, sir, Marathit बोलू का, और हिंदी भाषिक होगा तो हिंदीत बोलू का. That becomes a problem, which means that the communication is a basic problem in many. Now, I'm not saying for a moment that soft skills is communication, but communication is a part of soft skills, and therefore there is a lack of soft skills. In fact, some of the employers we inquired about what exactly they see, they say first thing is, uh, okay, they don't have skills of whatever they have studied, they have not acquired the proper skills which they require, but they say that even if they have soft skills developed, we can train these people in our organization in order to go ahead. But neither they have the skills in their own subject, they have not acquired the skills, moreover they are not street smart, or they are not having those soft skills, therefore employing them becomes a difficult proposition. Thereafter, another report came 2013. Technologies could have massive and economically disruptive impact between now and 2025. Please note, now we are seeing what kind of disruption is taking place in AI, ML, etc., etc., which they had predicted in 2013 and identified such disruptive technologies. Now, I have given the chart. You can just go through and see how relevant it is at this juncture in 2025. Everywhere, 3D printing, next generation genomics, autonomous vehicles, and all kinds of things. So, these are the things, advanced materials. So, all these kinds of things were predicted at that instant of time. There will be entering into disruptive technologies in 2025. I will give a cursory thing of NEP 2020. I know most of the people are from pharmacy, and yet Pharmacy Council has not accepted NEP 2020. I'm aware of that. But from that perspective, because I'm not talking only, my perspective is not only pharmacy education, but I'm talking about general education reforms which are happening. And I feel that as teachers, we should know, I know that there are 300 teachers and remaining research people, but we should know what is happening in the world and what is happening in other fields also, because the second point is multidisciplinary education and holistic education. So all teachers are expected to know and guide the students, not necessarily pharmacy students, but many times the parents come to you asking for what is the next path for the ward of those parents. And from that point of view, it is expected from the teachers that they will show them the right path. And just because I am from statistics, I will not suggest that you go for statistics. The student should have that potential or that aptitude to go ahead in that particular subject. Otherwise, I will suggest some other subject in which the student has an aptitude. So NEP 2020 gives the flexibility in the sense that it is not narrowing down or focusing on a particular subject, but it has got a wide range of subjects which have been uh, given to them. The options are given to them in the first year itself, wherever the NEP 2020 is applied. In Maharashtra, Maharashtra is leading in implementation of NEP 2020 in the entire country. Now, multidisciplinary and a holistic education, these are many folds of the NEP 2020. In case of flexibility, the student can, if they have got any problem in case of they can't pay the fees or something like that, rather than dropping out, the student can take a break, take a certificate after first year, or take a diploma after second year, and then earn, and subsequently at the subsequent stage, maybe after 1 or 2 years, can join. So that flexibility is made available. Multidisciplinary education, holistic education has been provided because students can have different electives. Life skills, instead of soft skills, we are calling it life skills because communication is part naturally, cooperation, teamwork, and resilience. Please note, I am just giving you the gist of everything. I have not yet come to what exactly needs to be done or what is being done by other institutions. I will come to that little later. But I'm giving you the perspective, and then I will talk about as to how do we go further, or what are the initiatives taken already by some of the institutions, so that those will be kind of guidelines for us also not necessarily to copy down, but think in those direction as to what else I can do. Extensive use of technology we have been using, respect for diversity and respect for local context. That means what we have to do is, uh, you know, first thing is, it is also saying that you provide education in their own mother tongue. That is, uh, people who are from rural area may be intelligent, but they are not substantially reached that stage where they can take education in language like English. So that is one, that is the local context. Moreover, if there is any employment at the local level, the student should be made self sufficient to face those kinds of challenges at local level. At the same time, people who want to come out of that local area and do something, there has to be some kind of diversity, and there should be acceptability of those people from the outside world. And therefore, now what we find is, many times you will find that, like for example, I'll give you an example of commerce. Now in, or even in your pharma, many times this statistics is taught. Now what happens is, students have studied mean mode median in 10th standard, once again they go to 12th standard, again mean mode median, again if they go for B farm, once they have statistics, again you start with mean mode median, which means there is no synergy in curriculum across all levels of education. Therefore, right from early childhood care education, ECCE, then they go to school, and then they go to higher education, there has to be synergy. That means there has to be a proper progression, proper synergy when they move from one level to another level, and another level to yet another level. Institutional restructuring and consolidation, which means that there is main thrust is to end fragmentation in higher education, which means that compartmentalization should go away, and we are aiming that each institution should have at least 3000 students, and there have to be a multidisciplinary kind of universities, colleges, and higher education, maybe in clusters. That means one institution, one trust or society may have different institutions which are providing different types of education, but they should not be in isolation. A student from one institution, if is interested in some of the subjects of another institution, the student should be able to study. The universities should be multidisciplinary. There are two categories. One is equal emphasis on teaching and research, that we call it as research intensive universities. When, please note, when we talk about research intensive universities, that kind of research needs to take place in the universities, where it should be useful to the society, and not just a PhD thesis or research paper which occupies some place on the racks of the university library or college library. Great emphasis on teaching, but still conduct significant research. These are teaching intensive universities. There are two categories. That means there is more of teaching. However, the teachers as well as students will do some kind of research, not totally only teaching in those universities. Now, autonomous degree granting colleges is large multidisciplinary institution of higher learning granting undergraduate degrees, primarily UG, though not restricted, but smaller than university. What is expected is, under this, it is envisaged that now every college becomes an autonomous college. Maybe next 15 years, this affiliation kind of thing should go away, and every college becomes not only affiliated college, but becomes an autonomous college. And over a period of time, this autonomous college should get converted into a university, what we call it as the degree granting institution or higher education institution, which means all higher education institutions by 2030 should become multidisciplinary institutions. By 2040, they should have increased strength, so that there will be increase in gross enrollment ratio. Now, what is the target? The target is 2018, it was 26.3% GR. that should become 50% minimum by 2035. That means 10 years hence. And many of the institutions accredited for ODL, means open and distance learning, will be encouraged to conduct ODL. In the sense, now recently a circular has come that those institutions, particularly autonomous colleges, etc., who want to go into online education or distance learning should apply to the UGC for conducting this online or distance learning mode courses. They have given, I think, 3rd of April as the last date for submission of such applications. So, as far as possible, even the students are not in a position to, because maybe say they are employed or something like that, they should be able to learn and continue their education. That is, there is more thrust on continuing education and continuous education. More holistic and multidisciplinary education, that is more flexibility I talked about, no compartmentalization of the faculty even. That is, the faculty, one should not say that is only for this, only for that, etc., etc. Recently, in February 2025, Niti Aayog came. I will not go dwell on each of those points, but ultimately, in order to increase the gross enrollment ratio, the state public universities, they have the maximum enrollment, and therefore it is suggested that these hands of the state public universities should be strengthened so that they enroll more and more number of students, and expected that by 2035 the enrollment becomes 7 crore of these students will continue to study in state public universities. Now, hence providing more access to education to those people who may be not in a position to do because of maybe cost or any other reason. Now, this I have set the background. Now I coming to what are the initiatives taken, and what initiatives can be taken in order to uh, contribute or participate into these exam reforms, education reforms. Now, these education reforms, at the backdrop of what McKinsey report is, though, as I said, NEP 2020 is a step towards that, as far as possible, throughout the country, that needs to be or expected to be implemented. As I said, Maharashtra is in the forefront at the national level in implementation of this NEP 2020. So here, what I'm trying to project is not that this is just because McKinsey report come, people are taking initiative, but earlier also quite a few institutions have taken the lead in order to work in terms of education reforms and make it uh, applicable in the different fields. Now, some of the initiatives taken by some of the NGOs or employers and education providers. Now, these examples are not exhaustive, but what exactly can be done? Now, teachers play a very important role in this whole process, or the educators, as we call, they have to play a significant role in taking these education reforms further with the higher rate or higher speed. What can we do? Creating awareness among the students that passing the examinations and getting a degree is not the only way to get good employment. That means, unless they know the fundamentals, just by memorizing, putting it on the in the examination answer book, that doesn't serve the purpose. People go with the distinction and all that to the employer, and they find that they are not selected by the employers just because they don't have the fundamental thing, and unfortunately, they have lost over the period of time the thinking process, the fundamental thinking, logical thinking, these kinds of things. They have given up themselves, and memorizing has been done, and that doesn't really help in employment, or employers don't value that. Educators may pay more attention to what is for many students a key priority of pursuing education. Ultimately, we have to remember that whatever education we give, it's not only for getting the piece of paper in terms of degree, but ultimately getting a good job, or maybe people want to become entrepreneur. That is the kind of thing for which the students are coming to us for taking education in the right spirit, if we talk about. Now, education providers and employers step actively into each other's world, interacting increasingly, which means many times we find that what is there in the syllabus is many times only theoretical aspect. What is the relevance of that is that it doesn't get translated in the classroom, which means many times we find that on paper the syllabus is excellent, but in the teaching learning process, it the entire relevance is lost. That means there is something wrong in the teaching learning process. Therefore, what initiative we had taken in at least our institution. Now, bear with me if I mention quite a few times either first person singular or second person singular, but you'll have to bear with me because some of the initiatives which we had taken may be an eye opener for quite a few of us. So, what we have to do is, like, for example, I have just given an example which is true for many other subjects and programs. BSc economics, we decided that 5% of the subject will be taught by persons from the industry only, which means we used to adjust their lectures as a visiting faculty, and they would tell them, we used to give them the syllabi, they would go through and then tell the students as to what is the relevance of that subject in the industry. Similarly, about the foreign banks, we had introduced modules in BBA and BCom honors. Now, please note here what happens is the industry people and the people from uh, teaching fraternity, they should sit together. That is usually done in case of board of studies or in case of academic council. That is not enough. What needs to be done is, particularly, as I said, on paper it sounds very nice syllabus, but ultimately it when it gets translated in the classroom, it should be translated in the classroom in the spirit in which those topics are kept in the syllabus, which unfortunately doesn't happen. In the classroom, what happens is only theoretical knowledge is passed on. Not that theoretical knowledge is not required. The fundamentals are to be cleared, fundamentals need to be cleared, but ultimately one has to keep the aim in mind, that what for I am teaching this particular program or course, so that the students, when they go out, they should not feel that I am lost in the industry. Therefore, what I had done was that after that syllabus is implemented, the meeting of the faculty, and also, of course, we being a deemed to be university, we could do it, but it's not difficult for people to do it, that we used to make the industry people who were involved in setting the syllabus and also the teachers who are teaching sit together, so that the industry people can explain to the teachers as to what is the rationale behind keeping that particular topic, and which is the way in which it is to the instructions are to be imparted to the students. Number one. Secondly, after every semester or after 1 year, same people from the industry would come and ask the faculty as to what are the difficulties which they faced in implementing that particular syllabus. In that case, there is an exchange of ideas, and if at all there are some difficulties faced by the faculty, industry people would tell them as to how to go about, and in that particular syllabus which is set. Proper vocational guidance on the basis of reliable comprehensive data about job opportunities, wages and training may help youth make right choices. Now please note, what really happens is, as I explained in the beginning in my preamble, what really happens is after 10th or 12th, the parents or the students, because there are so many courses which have come, programs which have come into existence in these during last maybe 10 years or so, and there are several institutions who have started these programs. Now the parents and the students are absolutely lost. They don't know which program to choose. They don't know what is the future for that program. They don't know which is the good institution which imparts that particular program in a fair and nice manner. So there is utter confusion. So after 10th and 12th, the parents keep on searching for a good person who will be able to guide them properly. And we as teachers, it's our responsibility towards the society to see to it that these parents and the students should be guided properly, because what really happens is these days people ask as to what is the scope for this particular subject. I always, when they come to me, I always tell them that there is nothing like scope, because if the student comes to me after 10th and the parents, for that there may be scope for some xyz program. So I tell them that if I suggest you this at this juncture, there is great demand. So what is happening is everybody is rushing towards that particular program. Now your child will pass his or her graduation at least after 5 years. Now everybody has rushed towards that particular program, and because of that, after 5 years, you will find that the entire uh, corporate, wherever there was a scope, it is saturated. And therefore, at that stage, you will come to me and say, sir, you had guided, but now see the situation, there is absolutely no, into inverted commas, scope. So therefore, I suggest them that don't go by scope. Ultimately, I counsel the child that it is your interest where you have to see where you can deep dive. You may choose any subject of your choice. However, you have to deep dive and see to it that you acquire proper skills, and it is you who will generate the scope, so called scope, for that particular program or that particular subject. Now, how do we do this kind of thing on a large scale? So there was a University of Mumbai had taken initiative that, in fact, when I was in the university, we started, and Dr. Snehalata Deshmukh, who was the honorable vice chancellor at that instant of time, that in the university convocation hall for 2 days we used to have a kind of education exhibition or mela, where parents and students with some token fees, we used to let them in, and we had trained some teachers, and we had told them that maybe different kinds of programs, set of programs were given to each teacher, and the teacher would explain about what is the future, what are the future opportunities, what kind of thing a student can do after taking this particular program. So that kind of thing used to be done for parents and students, and they were guided properly, so that initially when we saw in McKinsey report that the students were asked whether they would like to take the same program again after their graduation, and they said no, more than 50% of the students. That will not happen. The choice will be a right choice for those students. Similarly, in our Shri Vile Parle Kelwadi Mandal, we organize that kind of thing usually in the month of May for parents and students, where several parents and students visit our stalls. There is no dearth for us really for in our institution. People are thronging to take because we have top institutions, and so there is no dearth of students. In fact, uh, like if you say about our School of Business Management, our admissions for the next year are more than 50% are over. 61,000 students appeared for only management MBA program entrance test. So we don't have any dearth, but it is only a social kind of responsibility with which we conduct such kinds of things for parents and the students. Also, there are quite a few organizations who organize vocational guidance camps at a local level. That means regionally, if they organize, we can help them in motivating the students, asking the students as to what they are interested in, and guiding them properly. Now, I told about this need to aggressively push information not only to young people but also to their families and friends. I talked about that uh, 1 day seminar which we conduct, which is called SVKM Mastermind. So, where the parents and the students come and they visit various stalls, our teachers explain them as to what are the contents of that program and what it leads to, and what are the job opportunities for those, or entrepreneurship which they can go ahead with. Some NGOs and communities, like some Seva Sangh and all those kinds of communities, they conduct career counseling for the students, where they invite people like us, and then we go there, the teachers can go there and explain them about various, because otherwise what happens is they know only limited kinds of programs, they are not aware of other programs which are in existence and which have newly come up. So therefore, this is again a social service where these local bodies they conduct, or NGOs they conduct this career counseling program, where the parents and the students are made aware of which kinds of programs which are in existence. To change the students and parents' views about vocational training, this can be done by switching the subject from academic versus vocational to the opportunities of professionals as a whole. Now, as you know, there is a BVOC program. Now, this BVOC program is already in existence, and uh, quite a few institutions are conducting this bachelor in vocational studies program. Higher education institutions are also allowed to conduct short term certificate programs in various skills including soft skills, which is called Lok Vidya now, particularly vocational knowledge developed in India. So therefore, now please note that this soft skills, as I said, doesn't necessarily mean the uh, communication skills. How you behave in society, how even small things like how you eat, whether when you are given a cup of tea, whether you make noise in drinking tea and sucking the tea with making noise, or whenever you are using the spoon, whether you are scratching the dish all the time and making noise. This is also a small kind of thing, but it creates an impact, bad impact on somebody else's mind. So how you behave, how you eat. Now please note, the teachers have got a great responsibility. I always say that what happens is I may give training on soft skills as to how you communicate, how you behave, how you carry yourself, your body language. This I can create a training program, and we have done it at our level. But that I always tell the teachers that I may do it for, say, uh, 1 credit, 2 credit, though it was not earlier a credit course. We started at least 10-15 years back this soft skill program by having a complete central level uh, soft skill training department, and every institution along with their regular curriculum, we implemented this soft skill program. In this, you may give them 30 hours of program, but they come to the class and looks at the teacher when the teacher's body language, teacher's communication is exactly contrary to what the student has studied. Then in that case, the student feels, okay, this is the only, because the students always try to emulate the teacher, and therefore whatever we have trained them, it goes waste, and it is completely uh, wiped out. So therefore, the teachers also should acquire these soft skills, so that they will be role model in terms of soft skills to the students as well. So it is not only what the content what you teach, but also the way in which you behave is also very important. Vocational education will be integrated into all school higher education institutions in phase manner over next decade, which is the NEP which has already done. And then there are community colleges, particularly in South. There are quite a few community colleges. They give the hands-on training to the students and may give some diploma, something of that kind, where the students can start their own some kind of small business, or maybe they become employable. Now what really happens is, uh, usually people from middle class and upper middle class, they don't want to go into diploma program or something like that, because as I told earlier, graduation becomes a kind of status symbol, UG as well as PG. So what Siemens company had done in Germany was, the school children were taken around in their company on one particular day. The students would be taken around and they would see, how the robotics machines operate, what are the things which are happening there, which will generate interest into some students at least, so that they will be attracted towards these vocational programs, or they will be attracted towards the diploma programs. So that was the initiative taken by Siemens Germany. Now involving employers in financing training and education of youth. Now ICICI and Manipal Academy, they had come together, and what they did was, in phase one, uh, 12 months, the 9 months classroom teaching and 3 months internship in ICICI Bank. This was in the rural areas. On completion of PG diploma in banking, monthly stipend was given from ICICI Bank. So uh, this was one first phase, and those people who wanted to do further study, then phase 2, 18 to 30 months optional, it was optional, online training while working, and on completion they would be given MBA from Manipal Academy. This was the initiative taken by ICICI Bank earlier. And because what happens is, in banks, though graduates and postgraduates are available, so they're employing, but whether those kinds of educational qualifications are required for, in general, for a clerical post, is a question mark, uh, which we have in mind. Now NGOs, with the help of industry, CSR initiatives, can pay for the fees, because wherever there is a problem, people drop out because of fees. Then Pratham was the NGO which came forward, and then they said that 30% of the fees, uh, during duration of the course they will pay, and 70% the student would repay in installments after they start earning. So it is helping the student to continue education, whichever stream that student chooses. That was the great initiative taken. I already talked about soft skill program be introduced as mandatory component of the curriculum. Now in NEP 2020, life skills has been made mandatory, and that is also a credit program. So students will not be able to avoid; they will have to complete those life skills programs, yeah, as per NEP 2020. Nevertheless, even if NEP 2020, wherever it is not implemented, we can, as I said, we had done it long ago, 10, 15 years back, maybe more, that we have established soft skill department, and every institution under us, we have 33 institutions, every institution has this soft skill trainer, and every campus also has, and they go there and they conduct. At that time it was non credit program, it was, maybe you can call it audit course, but we used to impart that, and that showed a great improvement in employment of the students. Now, employers be engaged much earlier in pre-hiring youth and influencing sports. I talked about ICICI Bank, 12th standard students were selected. Summer placements, now it is mandatory as per NEP 2020, that there is something called OJT, that is on the job training, which needs to be given. I think in pharmacy also, there is some summer placement, or maybe some project or industry project or industrial placement is necessary. DTT is Diploma in Textiles at Shirpur. We have got a campus at Shirpur. And what we did was that we took only 40 students. Most of them were the first generation learners. And this was after 10th. And there are quite a few textile mills in this area. This is near Dhule. And in Shirpur itself, means it's a hub for exporting uh, maybe the ready-made garments, towels, bed sheets, all that. 80% of those their produce goes in the international market. And you name the brand, international brand, that is produced there with made in India label, and it is sent back to that particular country. So uh, it's all state of art machinery. Now these people, these are first generation learners. They can't speak even proper Marathi because their language is a dialect called Ahirani. Now they speak Ahirani, and then what we did was we created this program, that is diploma program, and from day one, the practicals will be in those industries, textile industries. Now after 3 years, they are so polished, these students, that they are employed by the companies like Raymond's, Wellspun. All these companies are taking students from us because they have got hands-on experience in the industry with state of the art machinery, German machinery, in the all those textile mills, because they are all exports, so they have to maintain that kind of quality. There is a request that you increase the number of students, but we don't want to, because the practical practicals we provide them in the industry, there is a limited capacity. So what I'm saying is, these kinds of initiatives one can take and think of new programs which one can have for the students, rather than only some stereotype programs. Now in case of providing apprenticeship, provider can provide simulation opportunities in organizations. Now what happens is, there is always hue and cry as to, for so many students, from where can we generate the apprenticeship, how can there be on the job training. Now what we did was, there are quite a few uh, simulation techniques. There are softwares on simulation, like for example, in case of if one wants to do something in accountancy, one wants to read the balance sheet and try to find out how much is the uh, how much what kind of company or industry that is, which is based or which can be studied from the balance sheet. So there are all these balance sheets are simulated, and then students can see those and then try to predict, try to find out what kind of things can happen if a particular head the amount changes, then what is the reflection, etc., etc. There is a capstone project which we have implemented at MBA level, so people don't have to go out. Even BSc trading room we have created for capital market students. So what really happens is, sitting in the laboratory, this kind of simulation is carried out, and students are given almost a real life situation, and then students keep working on this. Now, there is National Skill Development Council, NSDC, which was founded in 2009. It is a non-profit company where there is a public-private partnership in this NSDC. 49% equity of central government and 51% industry associations. So they also help to get this apprenticeship, get somewhere into the company. Even there are quite a few confederations of industries. They also provide and they also help in giving opportunity to the students, so that the students can see the real life situation in the industry or corporates. Now these are the references, those who are interested in that, what exactly is the McKinsey report, what initiatives have been taken. I have also explained what exactly are the initiatives which have taken place, what many industries are doing, how do we help the society in these kinds of aspects, how do we see to it? Because we always say the students come to us with great aspirations, as you know. Viva Shirvadkarji, that is Kusumagraj, has said, Ananta amuchi dheya sakti, Ananta anasha, Kinara tulapa amarala. Which means, for non Marathi people, I can say that the poet is looking at the ocean, and he refers to the ocean and says that, you poor ocean, you have got boundaries, but there are infinite aspirations of mine, and therefore, you poor ocean, you live with the boundaries, and my aspirations are infinite. So students come to us with so much of expectation, so many aspirations. Are we standing in the competition of their aspirations? Are we fulfilling their aspirations? Are we uh, imparting what they want and what the employers want? Uh, Three factors were considered initially by McKinsey, as I explained: employers, education providers, and youth. So this is the triangle. Now we know that education providers, what they want, we can come to know only if we as teachers or as an institution, we interact with them and take their help in setting our syllabus. A, that is our role. Then you will look at the aspirations of the youth and see what they require. Are we providing them? It is not, please note, it is not only theoretical, it is not only uh, the hands on, but also their overall development. Are we providing them, are we equipping them with any kinds of skills, soft skills, life skills, where that is going to go a long way in their life? So are we doing that kind of thing to the students? And therefore, as I end my speech, I always quote some Subhashit. This is not new to you, those who are the pharmacy graduates. They have taken the oath, I suppose. It says na, and this is Sanskrit Subhashit, even before the oath was maybe which was uh, framed. It says, Naham kamaye rajyam, na swargam na punarbhavam, kamaye dukhataptanam, praninam arti nashanam. What it means is, Naham kamaye rajyam, I do not aspire for kingdom, na swargam nor heaven, na punarbhavam nor salvation. O Lord, kamaye dukhataptanam, praninam arti nashanam, which means, O Lord, give me the power to lessen the agonies and sufferings of of the sufferers. I think all pharmacy people take a similar kind of oath, though the wordings might be little different. And therefore, lastly, I would say, Asare khalu samsare, prutakko vana jayate, sa jataha eta jatena, yati vansha samunnatim. What it means is, Asare khalu samsare, prutakko vana jayate. In this complex word, who has escaped the cycle of birth and death? Sajatah etajatena yati vansha samunnatim. But only that person is remembered who does worth some distinguished work for the upliftment of the society. Friends, it is our duty to see to it that we become the pioneers, we contribute something to the society for its upliftment. And therefore, thank you very much for listening to me patiently. I'll
Okay,
stop sharing.
very good. Yeah,
I
yes,
think I finished on time.
yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, absolutely,
Now I have stopped sharing.
yes. You select the option of stop sharing. Yes.
Yeah, yeah, I've done already then.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. Very good afternoon, all participants. Thank you very much, sir, for your insightful and thoughtful lecture on this particular diverse topic, that is uh, education reforms. There is one question from the participant,
Yeah.
that what are different skills development programs by AICT, by Dr. Umair Ahmad, sir. So different skill development programs by AICT.
See, there are particularly the skill development programs have been, if you go to the NSDC site, you will find all these kinds of list of skill development programs. Rather than talking about AICT, you can go to NSDC site and you will be able. Can you listen to me properly?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So that will give you the complete list of the skill development programs.
Yes, got the point. Okay, sir. So I'll just brief the lecture of sir. Sir, you are very, what we can say, elaboratively explain the key stakeholders of this particular, especially the implementing new education policy and the requirement through the McKinsey report, and how that is important and significant to implement, and that is how relevant to the implementation of new education policy. That is nothing but the youth or student, what we can call it as one of the important stakeholder along with the education provider and employers. And definitely our education has to be converted into or at the employment scale, and that is required through the number of initiatives that has to be taken. You also what we can say, you focus on that, how this particular especially the higher educations, the youth which are taking that education is by chance but not by not choice, because most of the students are heard somewhere that this program is good from that maybe parents, relatives, or their seniors one, and they are following that education. And definitely at the employment scale, that is there are certain things which are just miss out, and that is not comparable or what we can say matching the standards as per the expectations of employer. So definitely there are the what are the mismatched standards between the education providers and employment is one of the key area where we have to look forward in new education policy 2020. Again, one of the important point you strike out, that the role of disruptive technology that has taken the new dimensions in the field of education, along with the most important part you are elaborated, that is nothing but the vocational guidance. So you are very much you focus on how this particular the traditional streams of the educations like economics, art, commerce, that has to be converted into the vocational guidance and training that will be enable student to be a employable scalable person in the industry. That is also one of the things. Again, you are shared your experiences like education mela, and also there are certain the initiatives which is taken by the ICICI Bank in the field of this particular courses, education courses. So definitely the three stakeholders, youth, education provider, and employees is the important, and that has to be transferred through the skills. So definitely rather than we have to move one step ahead from the soft skill to the life skill. So if we will inculcate this particular environment through the soft skill, transforming soft skill into life skills to become a indispensable and valued human beings that will serve to the society, ultimately to the nation. That is the ultimate aim and objective uh, of this particular national education policy, that is education for all. In short, that is nothing but the multidisciplinary action approach to the student will really enriching activity for all of us. Thank you very much for enlightening
Just one.
and
Can I
giving
can
the,
I interrupt? Sorry. Can I interrupt?
yes, yes,
And for researchers, there are 300 researchers. The research should be relevant and useful to the society. That's the most
yes, sir.
important part.
Yes,
not
sir. Yes,
not
yes, sir.
just occupying space in the library. Yes.
Yes, yes, yes,
Okay. Please
yes,
go
yes.
ahead.
And
Sorry.
again, research and all stakeholders should be, the transform into a what we can say responsible human beings for the nation building, the activities of economy. So yes, thank you, sir. Yes, I would like to kindly accept the token of appreciation and love, that is a certificate and flower bouquet from our side. So kindly
Thank you.
accept the certificate, sir.
Okay.
Certificate
Thank you.
of
Thank you.
appreciation.
Thank you. Yes. Thank you so much.
And once again, thank you for your valuable talk for our participants. Have a good day, sir.
Thank you. You too.